Welcome back to the deep dive. It is early February 2026, and I gotta say, looking at the calendar on my wall, it feels like it's lying to me.
Lying to you how?
Well, historically, February is supposed to be the dead zone. You know, it's the hibernation period. You recover from the holidays. Maybe you chip away at that backlog of games you bought on sale and never touched. But looking at the release schedule for this week, I mean, it is an absolute battleground out there.
The industry has really shifted its rhythm, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It used to be you had the holiday rush and then just, silence until spring.
Yeah.
Now February has essentially become holiday season part 2. You have massive hardware hype with the Switch Virtual Boy peripheral, which I still can't believe is a real sentence I'm saying.
I know.
And then you have these heavy hitters like Resident Evil Requiem just looming around the corner.
Exactly. And the problem with that much noise is that it creates this weird paralysis. You stare at the digital storefront, there are 10 new things, everyone is yelling about a different Game of the Year contender, and you just end up playing nothing.
Where you just replay Skyrim.
Or you just replay Scaring for the 50th time.
Yes.
The paradox of choice. When everything is hyped, nothing feels essential, right? So our mission for this deep dive is to cut through all that marketing noise. We aren't here to just list release dates and read the back of the box. We've combed through the playtest reports, the patch notes, all the early reviews to curate a specific playlist for this weekend.
We're looking for the high-value time investments, whether you want something that demands total tactile mastery, a competitive rush, or something completely different that just slows the whole world down.
And we have a surprisingly diverse lineup today. We've got a samurai epic that is breaking its own genre rules, a shooter trying to pull off a miracle redemption arc, and a mountain climbing simulator that sounds, well, we'll get to that.
I haven't done that one.
Let's start with the heavyweight in the room. Neo 3.
Team Ninja is back, and just looking at the reception, the consensus seems to be that they haven't just iterated on the formula. They've really evolved it.
Okay, but before we get into mechanics, I have to play devil's advocate for a second. The title is Neo 3. That implies there are 2 massive, 100-hour games before it. For a listener who hasn't played the first 2, isn't this going to feel like walking into a movie halfway through? Is this a homework assignment?
That is usually the barrier to entry problem with these huge RPG franchises, right?
Yeah.
You feel like you need a wiki open just to understand who's fighting who.
Yeah.
But the sources are highlighting a very smart narrative choice here. Team Ninja went with a time travel premise.
Time travel.
Yes. It effectively resets the whole timeline.
Yeah.
Because the protagonist is hopping through time. The plot is largely, divorced from the intricate politics of the first 2 games. You're not bogged down. You're starting fresh.
So it's a clean on-ramp. That's good to hear. But the bigger shift, the thing all the reviews are talking about, is the structure. They've moved from linear mission-based levels to a full open-world design.
A huge change for them.
Now, for a Souls-like game, where the difficulty and that tight, claustrophobic level design are usually the whole point, doesn't an open world kind of dilute the tension?
You would think so. I mean, usually open world just creates a lot of empty space. But the reviews suggest it actually solves the biggest frustration of the whole genre.
Which is what?
Think about the classic experience. You run down a corridor, you hit a boss you can't beat, and you're just stuck.
The get good or get out moment.
Exactly. You bang your head against that wall until you either break the controller or you just quit the game.
Yeah.
But in Neo 3, the open world changes the pacing entirely. If a boss is too hard or you're just getting frustrated, you just leave.
You just walk away.
You go explore a different valley, find some side quests, level up your gear, and then you come back when you're ready.
It turns a wall into a detour.
Precisely. It respects your time so much more than the previous entries did. It lets you modulate the difficulty yourself just by exploring.
Okay, let's talk about the combat, though, because respecting time is one thing, but is it actually fun to play? The deep dive material mentions this duality system, ninja style versus samurai style. Is this just a cosmetic switch?
No, not at all. It changes the math completely. Think of it like shifting gears in a high-performance car. The samurai style is your anchor. It's defensive. It deals these heavy hits. It's very methodical. It's safe.
Okay.
But the ninja style is all high risk, high reward. It's about speed, positioning, evasion.
So do you just pick one and stick with it?
You have to swap. The enemies adapt, and the scenarios demand it. The brilliance described in the reviews is this flow state it creates. You might block a heavy ogre attack as a samurai, absorb the blow, then instantly snap into ninja mode to dash behind them and land a critical hit.
It sounds like it turns combat into more of a rhythm game than just a reaction test.
That is a great way to put it. It raises the skill ceiling, sure, but it feels incredibly rewarding once you get that muscle memory down. If you want a game that demands your full attention this weekend, Neo 3 is the one.
Okay, but let's be real. Sometimes you don't want to study the blade. Sometimes you just want to shoot something.
Sure.
We have 2 competitive shooters in the mix this week, and they're on completely opposite ends of the success spectrum. First, the return of a titan. Valve is back with Deadlock.
This is the one everyone is whispering about.
Whispering, because you can't actually buy it yet, right? It's still in this invite-only playtest phase.
It is,
Yeah.
which is just a brilliant marketing strategy in itself. Nothing makes people want a game more than telling them they can't play it yet.
Right. Exclusivity breeds desire.
But looking at the gameplay analysis, Deadlock is fascinating because it feels like a synthesis of everything Valve has learned for the last, 20 years? It's essentially Team Fortress 2 smashed into Duo EO 2.
Okay, let's unpack that. We know what a hero shooter is, unique characters, special abilities. But how does the Dota aspect, the MOBA element, fit into a third-person shooter? Because when I hear MOBA, I just think of, top-down clicks and spreadsheets.
It's all about the economy and the objective. In a standard shooter, you just shoot the other players, get a high score. In Deadlock, you're pushing lanes. You're destroying these little AI minions, the creeps, to collect souls. You use those souls to buy upgrades and items right there in the match.
So it's not just about who has the faster aim, it's about who has the better macro strategy.
Correct. If you can outfarm your opponent, if you manage the economy better, you can actually overpower them later in the game, even if their raw aiming skill is a little better than yours. It adds this layer of intellectual depth that, standard arcade shooters just don't have.
And what about the vibe, the setting? Valve usually nails that.
They're calling it an otherworldly Manhattan. So imagine, 1930s New York architecture, but it's all twisted with occult magic and supernatural stuff. The new hero update really leans into this. They just added a character named Graves, who's a student necromancer.
I saw that in the notes. I love that he's a student. It's like he's stressed about his midterms while he's raising the undead to fight for him.
It adds so much personality. And then you have Venator, this classic rugged vampire hunter. I mean, Valve is the master of character design, and even in this early state, the game feels incredibly polished. If you can snag an invite, it feels like a glimpse into the future of the genre.
Now let's contrast that polished, exclusive experience with High Guard by Wildlight. If Deadlock is the golden child, High Guard is, the kid who tripped on stage at graduation. The launch week was rough.
Rough is putting it politely. It was a disaster. Server issues, balance problems, matchmaking was a mess. The community was ready to write it off entirely.
And in 2026, a bad launch week is usually a death sentence.
Oh, absolutely. There are too many other games to play.
So why are we even talking about it? Why not just let it fade away?
Because of the recovery speed. We're seeing something pretty rare here. In just 10 days since that awful launch, the developers haven't just patched bugs, they've overhauled entire systems. And get this, they are launching Season 2 today.
Wait, Season 2? After 10 days? That sounds a little desperate.
It could be read that way, but I see it as determined. They're signaling content velocity. They're adding a new warden class immediately to show the players, hey, we are here, we are listening, and we are fixing it.
But is the game actually worth saving? Is the core good?
The analysis says yes. The core loop, which uses a raid structure, is solid. It's not a run-and-gun shooter. It requires coordination. The sources all mentioned the movement feels kind of heavy and sluggish at first, but then after a few matches, it just snaps into place, becomes really satisfying.
So Deadlock is for the strategist who wants polish, and High Guard is for the underdog supporter who wants to get in on the ground floor of a redemption arc.
That's a fair breakdown. High Guard is asking for your patience, whereas Deadlock is asking for your connections.
All right, let's pivot hard. We've done swords, we've done guns, we've done magic economies. Now I want to talk about just arms and legs. Let's talk about Cairn.
This is the palate cleanser of the weekend, for sure. No enemies, no score, no magic, just a mountain.
But this isn't a walking simulator, right, where you just hold the joystick forward. The control scheme sounds, honestly, kind of nightmarish.
It is described as marionette controls. You control the left hand with one button, the right hand with another, and then the legs with the sticks. You have to manually place your grip for every single move up.
Why? Why make it that hard? Is it just trying to be annoying, like QWOP?
It's not trying to be annoying, it's trying to be immersive. The difficulty is the narrative. The story is about obsession, isolation, and just the sheer physical struggle to keep moving forward. By forcing you, the player, to physically struggle with a controller, to feel the weight and the precariousness of every inch, you build what we call mechanical empathy with the character.
So when the character is exhausted and their grip is slipping, your fingers are actually cramping.
Exactly. It creates this incredible tension without a single explosion or gunshot. The reviewers are calling it the first great narrative surprise of 2026. But be warned, it is a slow burn. It requires a lot of patience.
It sounds like type 2 fun, miserable while you're doing it, but really meaningful when you look back.
A perfect description. It's a game about the cost of ambition.
Okay, final recommendation. Maybe you don't want deep meaning. Maybe you don't want tactical stress. Maybe you just want to grab a plastic guitar and pretend it's 2008.
The nostalgia economy strikes again. We have to talk about Fortnite Festival.
This really caught my eye because of the hardware. The Riffmaster wireless guitar is back, and it's $50 off right now. It feels like we are seeing a massive resurgence of that Guitar Hero impulse.
Oh, it's a powerful impulse. There's something so satisfying about a tactile click-clack of the strum bar. People miss that.
Yeah.
But we have to look at the ecosystem this hardware lives in now. It's not Rock Band anymore. It's Fortnite.
And that comes with baggage.
It comes with a very, very specific monetization model that the reviewers were not happy about.
Unpack that for us.
In the old days of Rock Band, right, you bought a song for $2, you owned it forever, it was in your library. In Fortnite Festival, the library rotates daily.
Daily.
So if you want to play a specific song right now, and it isn't in that daily rotation, you have to buy it for a premium currency. It uses FOMO, fear of missing out, to pressure you into buying things.
It's artificial scarcity for a digital jukebox.
It is. And the reviewers hated it. One source just bluntly said, everything about this economy sucks. It targets a younger demographic and just trains them to spend impulsively.
And yet, despite all the complaints about the economy, the reviewer kept playing.
They did.
Because there's a flip side to that rotation, isn't there? It's the radio effect. You tune in, and you just don't know what's going to be on.
That serendipity is the hook. If you just log in to see what's playing, it feels like an event. And to give credit where it's due, the curation for this specific weekend is bizarrely good.
It is all over the place. We have Chapel Roan, though they didn't include Pink Pony Club, which feels like a crime.
A significant oversight. That's the anthem.
But then you have a mashup of Hatsune Miku and Anna Managuchi. That is such a specific slice of internet culture.
It appeals to a very specific Venn diagram of fans.
And then early Fallout, Boy First Album Only, and Coheed and Cambria.
Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria on a plastic guitar is a core memory for a lot of millennials, even if the game is glitchy. Did you see the note about the avatars?
Oh, the air guitar glitch.
Yes. Sometimes the game just forgets to load the instrument model. So you have Miss Roan standing there, hands at her sides, looking completely bored while the guitar solo shreds in the background.
It's that classic Fortnite jank.
It is. But honestly, it kind of adds to the charm in a weird way. It's messy, it's expensive, but it's currently the only place to get that plastic guitar fix on modern consoles.
So if you could ignore the wallet traps and just ride the daily rotation, it's good, dumb fun. So that is the menu for the weekend. Let's recap. You have Neo 3 if you want tactical mastery, and a reinvented Souls-like experience.
You got Deadlock if you want to see the future of shooters and have the connections to get in, or High Guard if you want to support a developer fighting for a comeback.
You have Cairn if you want an emotional and physical struggle against nature.
And Fortnite Festival if you just want to turn your brain off and relive the rhythm game glory days.
It really comes down to what kind of tired you want to be on Monday morning. Do you want to be mentally exhausted from strategy or physically exhausted from wrestling a mountain?
Or financially exhausted from buying Fortnite skins.
Let's hope not. You know, looking at Fortnite specifically, it raises a question I want to leave the listener with today. We live in the era of Spotify and Netflix, right? We have access to everything instantly all the time.
Which creates a sense of disposability. Nothing feels special because everything's always there.
Exactly. So when Fortnite takes that music away and only gives it back in these little daily slivers, does that cynical manipulation actually make us value the music more? Do we enjoy that Coheed and Cambria song more because we know it might be gone tomorrow?
That is the uncomfortable question, isn't it? Does the limit create the value? I think in this case, paradoxically, it just might.
Something to think about while you're calibrating your strum bar. That's it for this deep dive. Go play something interesting.
And let us know what clicked for you.
See you next time.